Do you know how much our dear Reverend gets paid? £495 per year. And do you know how much the people get who work on his land? They're lucky if they get £35 a year. Does that strike you as fair? Because it doesn't me.
In case you can edit it in, ask him, Tom, about Tom's attitude to religion.
So, what was Tom's attitude towards religion? That's my question. I don't want to. Right, can I just get you to clap? That's great. Cool.
When the dark clouds gathered and the rain came down and the wind did rage and moan, and you knew that you could not go back, but you were many long miles from home, though you feared your heavy burden.
The Bricks of Burston is about the longest industrial strike in British history, and it took place in a small sleepy village in Norfolk. And it was staged by a group of school children who went on strike from the local school when their teachers, Tom and Annie, were sacked unfairly by the school managers, headed up by the Reverend Eland.
He's a man out of time and out of place, I would say. At this point in history, the Church of England was actually losing a lot of power, and by that time lots of political changes had taken place, lots of social reforms had come into place which empowered children, women and various other classes. So the class system was changing quite rapidly from mid-Victorian times to this point in time. So Reverend Eland's was probably still had quite a bit of power, but it was probably gradually, very slowly diminishing.
The play tracks three pivotal characters in the story of the strike and them trying to remember what happened in Burston so as to be able to move on and to be able to reconcile what happened in Burston. Tom and Annie were fired because they didn't agree with the Reverend and his tyrannical leadership of this village. They battled too hard, too early on for the Reverend, for the children's rights, for things that we take for granted now, for heating, for a good environment for the children to learn in.
It isn't just as specific as them battling against Eland. It becomes more than that. When they're on strike, they don't get the support from the NUT that they thought they might, and so that's like another group of people who maybe should have been on their side and have sort of abandoned her. And Annie gives so much to so many people and always will and always has done, to her children, to the community she lives in, to her husband, even to Eland. She does try and sort of temper him so much. And as things sort of get worse and worse for Tom and Annie, and people drop out on them and people don't give that support back, yeah, I think she does start to realise it is a bit of a bigger fight this time.
The Bricks of Burston, for me, and I think for quite a few people, it will come across as a love story. It's a love story between two incredibly passionate people, two people that tried to change the world. It's about their devotion to each other through court cases that insinuated that they were abusing children, through being fired from multiple schools, which would have destroyed anyone and would have put severe weight on any relationship. And so it's about these two people that were so in love with each other, and they were so it's about the couple fighting against the world.
I really find it easy to connect with the relationship and the love between her and Tom, because it is I feel like everyone can sort of relate to that in some way. But it's tested, and the sort of threads that join them are really stretched and really pulled to their extremes, because they're in this enclosed environment with people sort of pulling them in different directions. And at the beginning, you do see this relationship, but it's a husband and wife, and they're coming to a new place and they're having to deal with things, and it maybe it seems it doesn't have that sort of like that crackle, that like something special about it. But as you go on and you see them fight all of these challenges that come at them, it grows and it strengthens and it really blossoms. And whether it's been doing that all along, who knows? But it becomes apparent, and it just feels like the most sort of enduring love.
The Bricks of Burston is still very relevant today. Tom and Annie's plight is something that we can still really learn from today, and it's something that we'd like to think that we've moved on from. But education today is still, maybe more so than then, it's about ticking boxes and it's about passing exams. Tom and Annie would like to see an education that is a freeing thing, and it's about opening people's minds, and it's about introducing ideas, introducing skills, but always with the viewpoint of that's not it. Today there's still a lot of concern as to who higher education is open to, as to who should be going to university, can go to university. Now it's not a case of I want to go to university, I want to go into further education. It's can I? And that's always the first question that people have to ask themselves. Although Tom and Annie were fighting a fight, and they did win on a small scale 100 years ago on the day that we opened this play, there's still lots of injustice and there's still lots of imbalance in education, and that's something that still needs to be addressed.